So this is my Mustang Bambi's first time getting cinched up. I like to put a surcingle on all my horses before I go and saddle them for the first time. That way they get used to girth pressure without all of the scary extra tack dangling off of them. So right here I'm just swinging the rope around her, doing some extra pre-session desensitizing. She gets this every session. I just do it just to check in with my horses before I start working with them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing it around her belly and I'm going to grab the end of the rope so I can kind of mock a girth or a cinch, surcingle, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to put upwards pressure and just a bunch of different pressure underneath her belly where she's getting used to having that pressure pushing up on her, kind of like she's girthed up but not fully. And you're going to notice when I slide this rope down her belly right there, she kind of tenses up and she gets a little bit freaked out. But luckily she doesn't panic, she just kind of gets nervous in place and I show her that it's okay. And this is really just a simple exercise I like to do to kind of prepare her for what's to come. That way we're not just rushing right into getting a cinch on her. We're kind of taking a step before that and I'm showing her what's going to happen. So right here I'm going to show her the surcingle just to show her what's in my hands. And she's pretty desensitized to stuff all over her. I have never girthed her up, I've never put a saddle on her, nothing like that. But I've done some desensitizing, so I wasn't too worried about that. So I wasn't going to break it down too much. But I show her the object, and then I go and rub her body with it before I go and attach it. I want to make sure that the first time it's fully attached, that everything is all set, it's not too loose, and it's not going to slide around. So I'm making sure I do some adjustments now to fit her body properly, so that way when it is officially cinched up, she can't go running or bucking and it's too loose and it slides and we get into a bad situation. So I wanted to adjust it real quick, make sure it was all snug and that it fit her good before I decided to move her off for the first time. I wanted to make sure I rubbed on her and let her stand for a second before I went to move her forward. Some horses are very reactive, getting cinched up for the first times, and they blow up. Luckily, she could stop and pause and think about it for a second. And you're going to notice right there when I go to move her out, she wants to have some tiny little bucks. That's no big deal, it's pretty normal, but I'm just going to push her through it. I'm talking to her during this moment where she's all nervous and wanting to buck. I'm just talking her down, I'm letting her move out and just get comfortable with it. This is a very unnatural thing, especially for a horse that was once wild, and it's something that they just have to get used to, and what you can do is just talk them through it instead of winding them up and being a negative source of energy. So me just talking her through it, keeping my energy the same, it makes it positive for her. And after she gets a few steps, no bucking, I'm going to ask her to stop and just go and rub on her before I move her out the other direction. I'm just letting her know it's okay. And after she got that one little fit out, she was pretty much done with the bucking. She never tried again. She did want to kind of lock up and just walk. She didn't really want to trot forward. That was her just not knowing what to do with this weird feeling around her belly. So I just have to lift my energy up just a touch to get her to move forward so she can figure out that she can still move with this really weird pressure that is, tight around her belly. And a big reason I really like using the surcingle the first time they have any girth pressure is because in that moment where she went to go buck, there wasn't anything extra bouncing around on her body and scaring her. It was just one single thing. It's just solid pressure. It doesn't have anything flopping around on her body that is going to freak her out and make it a negative experience. It's something that we can break down the process with. We start with a surcingle, we go to a light saddle, and then we go to a bigger saddle, it's the scariest part of the whole process. So instead of throwing the scariest thing at her first, I broke down the process and made it a nice, positive experience for her to learn each step of the way before getting started under saddle. Here I'm just walking her around, letting her do some calm movement with a surcingle on, doing some little tiny exercises that she's used to doing with me, just walking around, stopping, backing up, just giving her something else to think about, not, okay, as soon as this item is on me, I need to go run around in circles. There's other things you can do with it, and this just gets her more comfortable to this new object that she's learning about. And then to end the session, I just gave her some free time to run around loose before we work on some join up. She still thinks she has to stop halfway and wait for me, so I'm just going to go up and rub on her and then ask her to take some steps towards me to show her that she's allowed to walk up to me. But that was a great first session with the surcingle. I couldn't have asked for it to go any better. There was very minimal drama, and she's super comfortable and quiet with the new object, which is exactly what I want. I just want a nice, quiet, happy horse. So that was a great session, and now we can keep on going throughout the steps to get her ready to get started under saddle. And I will be filming that process and sharing each step of the way with you guys.